Welcome back to our video series on the Play framework using Scala. We left off last time where we had just been able to view our tasks so the user can log in, they can see their tasks. We could add a delete right now, but as I have done in the past, I don't like to delete until I can add because otherwise you get one delete and you can't tell what's going on. So we want to have a component in here that does the adding for us. And the previous time we did this, we had a little div here that had an input and then a button. I don't know that we need the div for this, but before the logout button, actually I guess if we use a div then I don't have to do breaks. I'll do breaks. So I want to give us an input type an input whose type is text, whose value is attached to the state.newTask, and when it is changed, we're going to update that state. State.copy of new task equals e.target.value. Okay, so that we have an input field for that will just update the state for us. And we need a button that when they click on it, will add that task. So we need an onClick handler that takes an event, and this is something it's going to do a fetch call, so it seems to me that it would be nice for it to be its own method, just like the load tasks was. Once again, version 6 has code for adding a task in, and what we care most about is the fetch part of that code so that we don't have to go through and write it from scratch again. So we fetch, we need our add route here. We don't currently have an add route. Apparently I missed a comma there, which is preventing this. So version 6 has all of our routes. We can grab the add route. Right now, the only one that we have is the tasks route. So we get the add route. You know what we're also going to need in here? We're going to need the delete route. And I guess we're going to need the logout route as well, because the logout is definitely one of the elements that this component will have to do for us. Okay, we also need the CSRF token in here because these are posts. Task doesn't exist. Well, that is actually because this is state.newTask is the string that we are sending, and we get back a Boolean. But what we're going to do with it is rather different. When it fails, we are going to change the state so that we have a message, and our state just has one thing, a task message, is equal to this string. Now, right now, that message is not appearing in our render. We can add it in there. Okay. When they do an add, we want to do a load, and we should still set the text here to be empty. That would be done with a set state where we copy the state and new task is set to the empty string. And we also want the task message, in case anything had been set before, to be equal to the empty string. Okay, so that should add our task for us. We have code in here. Let's see how close that is to correct. Okay. We log in. And that appears to work. So now we just need to make it so that we can delete them. That can be done up in here. So we have, here's our list of all the tasks. Right now they just have a key and a task item, but we are going to want an on-click handler that will do a delete task of task item dot ID, because we do our deletes by item. Let's see if that happens to be what we called this. Nope, we just called it delete previously. So delete task would be down here. Delete task takes an ID that is an int. Okay, we do the delete route. If it works, we do want to set the task message, and we're still loading the tasks. We don't set the new task string, so we have that state there. And if it fails, we say failed to delete. Okay. Let's test that functionality. Oh, on click. Ah, indeed, I didn't make it a function on the far side. Once again, while people might get frustrated with error messages at times, I'd much rather learn that earlier rather than later, as opposed to having to log in and if that wasn't a syntax error, I'd get in here and I'd click on this and it wouldn't work, and I'd be sitting there wondering why it didn't work. Since I clicked on it and it worked, we know our delete is happy. So I can add, I can delete. The only thing we're missing is adding a new user, the create user. And you know what? We are moving fast enough. I think we can do that in this video right here. So that is back inside of our login. Our task list component is actually done. We can just kind of file it off to the side. It does what we want. Actually, I said that. Right now our log out, now I think about it, does not do everything that we want for logout, because logout should also send a message to the server and do a fetch that they have logged out. So we're going to have, instead of just the logout doing props.doLogout, we're going to write a function for logging out. Def logout unit, and we want to do these things here, but we also will want to call props.doLogout. We actually don't need to, that's all we're doing for it. Okay, so we do the logout route, and that should clear the token. Realizing that that wasn't happening is actually a challenging thing to do here, but it would not have been clearing the session token that says that the person is logged in. Okay, so that appears to be working. Sure, let's go ahead and finish this off real quick so that we can have everything in place. So that component is done. The login component needs to also display for creating a user some elements. And I am going to take the login stuff and copy and paste it to a create user. And in version 6, I believe we version 4 of this. For the login, yeah, we did username, password, but it was under create user, which is exactly what we're doing here. So create user, username, and password. It's not a login name. It's the create name. It is not the login pass. It is the create pass. And instead of calling login, we call a create user. So the create user here needed to do that work. In this case, we have this is our fetch for our create user. And so we have a def login, create user, unit, once again, data is not happy. This is a user data of state.createName, state.createPass. We need the create route, which we had not previously grabbed from here. And what we do is similar to what was happening here. If it works, we tell our parent that we've done a login. If it doesn't work, then we set not the login message, but the create message to user creation failed. Okay, it looks like everything is happy there. If we do a refresh, we'll see if we get our create user. Okay. Those are there for that person. And that appears to work. And let's make sure we can go back to some other user. Indeed. Okay, so everything seems to be happy with this. We have a fully functional version of our task list. It uses Slinky for the binding with React. And that finishes off version number 7. I hope you've enjoyed this playlist on using Play with Scala. Showing you all the different ways you can approach your various problems.